Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing the video game Sonic Generations. It's a Sonic the Hedgehog video game that was released in 2011, and it's a nod to previous Sonic games. No doubt, as you play this, it's going to elicit some feelings of nostalgia. It's really quite the good game, and I'm going to tell you why. First, I'm talking about the story. It's pretty original for a Sonic game. The Time Eater threatens the world, and during the conflict, an older, meaning Genesis-esque era Sonic comes hurtling into the modern Sonic's world. You know, the one with the green eyes, and the one who actually talks. The two hedgehogs have to unite to save the world from the Time Eater. Although there's going to be a twist at the end of the story, which I'm not going to reveal here. Now I'm going to talk about the graphics in this game. I really like them. I was pretty impressed by them. They're an improvement upon all the other Sonic games out there, even the more recent ones. Now, as for the sound and music, they both can be characterized as nostalgic. The Act 1 songs have a more classic Genesis-esque feel to the soundtrack, while the Act 2 songs have a more modern feel, like the games that have been released in the past decade. Now I'm going to talk about the sound effects in this game. Especially in the classic parts of the game, it's going to elicit some feelings of nostalgia. Like when you kill an enemy or you collect a power-up, or when you bounce off the springs, the sound effects are identical to those found on the Sega Genesis games. You know, Sonic's 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles. The one thing that you'll have to get used to is when you're playing the Genesis era levels, it's going to sound a little different when you hear the modern versions of those tracks in the Act 2s. Now I'm going to talk about the gameplay in this game. There are 9 different zones in this game, and each zone honors a selected Sonic game. I'm not going to tell you what the zones are because that would be spoiling it. But basically, the zones are the best or the most memorable parts of each Sonic game they represent. Each zone is divided into 2 acts. Act 1 is a classic version, and it's all in 2D. And the Act 2s are the modern versions, and they're in 3D. There are a total of 7 bosses in this game, most of which will give you a Chaos Emerald once you kill them. Each zone also features 5 challenges for each act. And as you clear the challenges, you unlock songs and artwork. The artwork I really don't care too much about, but you'll definitely want to unlock the songs. It'll definitely feel pretty rewarding. At least it felt rewarding to me. IGN.com also mentioned, though, that as you control the Sonics, it can be a little off switching from one Sonic to the other between the 2 acts. Because, as they say, and which is pretty true in the game, the 2 Sonics have different attacks. And according to them, if you try and use the wrong button combinations, you'll end up losing your rings. However, my opinion is that just listen to the soundtrack and get a feel for the level. If you do that, you're not likely to make the mistakes that IGN pointed out. The only few problems with this game are that, okay, when you go through the checkpoints, it tells you how far you are off your best time so far in that act. And sometimes when you go through the checkpoint, the times that will appear don't make sense. I don't know what that's all about. I didn't enjoy the final two bosses of the game, the last regular boss and the final boss that you fight as Super Sonic with. Especially with the last boss, it's pretty confusing what you have to do, and even once you do know how to do it, it's a little unfair and very, very difficult. So this kind of brings the game down a bit. Let's see. What else didn't I like? Oh, the scoring in this game, I don't know what that's about. I don't even know if killing an enemy gives you points like it did in the classic games. I know part of the score involves how fast you do, but it seems like you should also score points when you kill an enemy. The final thing I didn't like is, in Sonic games past, when you go through the checkpoints, your time is recorded. So if you die, you go back to the checkpoint, and your time will go back to where it was recorded. However, in this game, if you die, the time starts back up from the time you died, meaning you lose a lot of time, especially if you die pretty far away from the checkpoint. Overall, though, I really enjoyed this game. And I didn't play too many of the more recent Sonic games, but I heard that the series had been going downhill. If you've been fed up with those games, then this game is definitely gonna feel like a welcome relief. I give this game a 9 out of 10. Alright, thank you for now.